Alright y'all, so you're finally sending out beats to artists, but whenever you send out a pack, it's crickets chirping. Or maybe you're getting a ton of views on your type beat channel, but not many people are actually buying your beats. You know, as producers, we go through a lot of BS. However, some of it are actually mistakes on our part that can just be fixed. So today I'm going to be going over 5 reasons of why artists aren't using your beats, and also solutions to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes again. Let's get into it. Alright y'all, so the first reason that artists aren't using your beats is because you're not in the right key or BPM. So pretty much, especially when it comes to hip hop, most artists have a comfortable range, and this range is pretty much what most of an artist's songs, keys, and BPMs are. And the comfortable range is pretty much like the golden spot for an artist to put their lyrics without having to lower their voice or make their voice a little bit higher, because really when it comes to hip hop, artists are really just speaking on the beat using their voice. So if they listen to a beat that they can't find themselves rapping on, then they're immediately gonna skip it. So to avoid that and to find the comfortable range of an artist, what you can do is, for example, I can go to Gunna's album here on Spotify and his most recent album, and I can go through all of these songs here and I can find what key they're in and also get a good idea of what BPM they're in. So what I did is I just first went through these 7 songs here, and from what I saw, Gunna's comfortable range is from C minor up to F minor. So here to here and everything in between in the minor key is gonna sound good, and he can comfortably put his lyrics on a beat in that key. And most of the beats that he chose were also just regular trap range, so anywhere from like 140 up to 170. So yeah, first before you even start your beat, you should have a good idea of what key and what BPM you're going to be in. So now I have this loop that I made here. See that it's in C minor, so it's part of the comfortable range, and it's at 165 BPM, which is a good BPM for Gunna to rap on. From just listening to the loop here, we can tell that this is definitely more of a modern vibe for Gunna. This isn't like something that he'd rap on before 2023. This is up to date with what his most recent album sounds like. And that leads me on to my next tip, which is you might just have too many outdated sounds, or you might have stuff that is just way too unique for an artist to get on. I'm gonna just be real with y'all real quick. If you're using 808 Mafia 2011 drum sounds, you need to get that out of your files, bro. Go download some new free kits off of YouTube or Reddit. Go invest in a kit from some reputable site, but you should be staying up to date with your drum sounds and your loop sounds, of course, if you choose to use loops. And I'm gonna also just be real with y'all here real quick. You have the best chance of landing a song with an artist if you make their type beat. Like if you're a producer that's just sending beats to an artist and you're sending beats to an established artist, you're gonna find that it's gonna be really hard for you to actually land a song with them if you're gonna try to reinvent the wheel and reinvent their sound. So you shouldn't be trying to be so unique with your beats and making stuff that they've never rapped on before. Instead, you should simply just stick to their type beat or something that you can definitely hear them rapping on. And I'm just talking in majorities here. I mean, of course, it would be best if you could, you know, add your own uniqueness and work together with an artist, but when it comes to just sending beats to an artist, you should just stick to what they're looking for and what their best interests are. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add drums to this loop here, and then this is going to lead me into my third tip. Alright, so I just finished the drums here. I'll let you guys take a listen to this. see, a lot of these are more fit to the modern drums, 2023 style drums, and a lot of these sounds are used by Gunna's main producers like Wheezy and Turbo, so we know that the drums are straight with this. They match into what style that he's looking for. And this leads me into my next tip, which can kill your chances of getting a beat with an artist, and that is just going to be straight up poor sound selection. And I talked a little bit about this in my last video, which I definitely suggest you guys watch if you're learning how to, you know, make better samples, because I go over sound selection when it comes to sample making, but sound selection when it comes to drums is very important too. I found that when I stopped looking at my beat as main components, like, you know, melodies and drums and breakdowns and all that kind of stuff, even though those are the components of a beat, I started focusing more on just making my beat flow together as one, so that it just all sounds really good together, like it's all meant to go together like a puzzle. Once I started doing that and focusing and just really keying in on my sound selection and how everything fits well together into the beat, I noticed that a lot of artists started to mess with my beats just a lot more. So take the time finding that specific clap, take the time finding that specific 808, and if you don't want to sound too basic and, you know, not sound like every other trap beat, choose an 808 that's more unique but also fits well into the beat. That's another way that you can, you know, be unique yourself without overdoing it. It's just adding sounds that are unique. So now you'll probably be in my situation where you're pretty much coming to the conclusion, or what should be the conclusion of your beat. You have your melodies down, you have all the previous steps that I talked and tips that I talked about with you guys, you have all of that down, and now you think that you have everything, but you want to start adding more sounds. You look at this south side rim shot and you're like, oh, that would sound good, and then the Lex Luger clap would also sound good in there, and then before you know it, you have 15 808s in your beat. We don't want that. Complexity and just having too much complexion with your beats is what's going to eliminate your chances of an artist rapping on them. And this took me a while to get through my head that an artist just can't rap on a beat because it's too complex, because I feel like I can hear them rapping on it even though I have 300 sounds playing at the same time. But really, you should be looking for spaces, and that all starts off with your melody and it goes on into your drums, but just leaving enough space so that an artist can rap on your beat is crucial. And even with these drums here, even though like the beat sounds good itself, like that's almost too complex, especially right here at the end. Like there's no space for an artist to put their vocals there. So what I would do is put your drums in sections. So first what I would do is I'd put a few drums here in this 8 bars, and then different drums here, and then the rest of this 8 to 16 bars. So I'll just show you guys what I'm talking about. And this is really going to help with just avoiding too much complexity with your beats, especially if you have a lot of sounds. Right here, I have some drums playing in this part and some drums playing in this part here, but I'll never have them all together in one as a full beat. And that makes it just simple enough so that an artist can comfortably put their lyrics on there without having to struggle because there's no space for their lyrics to go. Alright, so this next tip is probably one of the most important, and that's that your intro is too boring. Artists get a lot of beats and it only takes, like, seriously 1 second. In that 1 second, if that beat doesn't hit them the right way, then they're skipping, they're on to the next one. And it's the same thing with producers too. Like, I can spend 8 hours making a pack for a producer and send that out, and he'll go through that entire pack in 8 seconds. Like 1 second, it doesn't feel that right, skip, on to the next one. So you really have to key in and make sure that your intro like immediately hits them just in some way. You know, usually if you follow all the previous tips that I told you guys about, like the key and comfortable range and, you know, sound selection and everything, then you should be in a great spot. But still, you should make your intros sound somewhat interesting and just ear catching. So one way that you can do that is by having majority of the melodies just hitting all at the same time, like this. You can also have all the melodies and part of the drums in as well. Like that's immediately going to catch someone's ear right in the intro because you have like a lot of things just hitting at the same time. So one thing that I've started doing with just making sure that I have a good intro is what I'll do. I'll pretty much just save a beat like this when I have everything laid out, and I'll just come back the next day, because what can happen is you can get, ear fatigue. You're listening to the same thing over and over again, so it's going to sound different compared to someone listening to it for the first time. So I'll come back the next day and then play the intro of the beat, and if it just sounds like it's too much, like too much is happening and I can't really wrap my head around it, then I'll take some sounds out. But if it sounds like there's not enough going on, then I'll just add more sounds until I found the right spot, because your intro and just those first few seconds are super important, and you want to make sure that you get it right. Pretty much, I feel like this beat would be perfect for Gunna now that I followed everything that I told you guys. And you guys will be able to listen to this and let me know what you think down in the comments below too. First, before I go, here is a bonus tip. You might not be getting artists to get on your beats simply just because you're not sending out enough. Maybe you're following all of these steps and the beats that you're sending out to artists are actually good, but it's not getting in front of them. They can't listen to it because you're not sending out enough. What it's all about is, I found that the best way to get my beats in front of artists is to find people who have connections with the artist already, engineers, other producers, people who have worked with the artist before or have direct connects to them. Build a relationship with that person and then expand from there. Meet more people that have more connects and just keep sending out, because once you get your beats in front of that artist's ears 24/7 and they're just listening to your beats, then they're most likely going to choose your beats out of everyone else's. So if you guys do want to see like a little networking video, how to network as a producer in 2023, I can drop some gems on that too. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this beat, videos you guys want to see in the future. But that's gonna wrap it up for me, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Catch y'all in the next one. I'm out. Oh, also, you can follow me on Instagram @ProdLucent and come join the Discord server down in the description below. See you guys in the next one.